Just have a picture here to try to redefine or help you with the brainstorming. Again, it's when you're coming up with as many ideas as you possibly can without negating them. If you're doing it by yourself, if, for example, you want to make sure that you have as creative freedom as you possibly can. And then if you are working with one or more people, you want to continue to use that creative freedom, and hopefully you don't necessarily hear any negative comments because that may stymie somebody from trying to participate. So just by having this figure graphic there is pretty good. Brainstorming ideas for any project that you come up with, whether it's a design or another class that you have. This is always going to help you out. And then just kind of carrying right off into the thumbnail, rough, comprehensive layout, and the finished art. So I just have a couple of sketches here that show the thumbnail sketch, which is your first beginning step in the sketching process, because if you do this, it's a quick sketch. It's a small sketch at first, and it may not have all of the information, just kind of blocked it out. In this case, a series of logo designs. So just kind of brainstorming the idea where all ideas are usable, and it doesn't take up much space or time. You're just kind of jotting these ideas down to get them on paper. And then later you can take a look at them and see. And this isn't this particular group of thumbnails, but the idea is you would take one of those or a group and try to modify it. So in this case, using this profile or character of a dog, and they have it in a circle, you're taking the secondary ideas, the rough ideas, are next. And that's where you're trying to develop these thumbnails a little bit further and experiment with the elements of design, line shape, value, color, texture, those type of things, and just trying to clean them up a little bit. And what may happen again is that you may stem from one of these to another series of sketches that takes place. But once you're trying to finalize it down, and it takes on the level of the section that they talk about as the comprehensive layout. So going from a logo and kind of this graphic design of the dog and taking it to this section that has this layout for an advertisement for the van. And this gives a couple of things. It gives you the four elements of the ad: the headline, which is Super Van City; the copy, which is kind of a subhead right here, custom conversion, 350, and then the rest of this type, or the copy that you can't see, just represented by horizontal lines, is also referred to as Greeking due to the fact that not too many people speak or can write in Greek, and that letters become just horizontal lines as that shows or represents the copy of the text in the ad. And then usually it'll place the logo. Don't necessarily see a logo in this one, but and the artwork being the van itself. So those segments of the four elements of an ad are shown up into this piece, which is the comprehensive layout. And then the finished art, just kind of grabbed an image for this one. There's a whole bunch of them, but just the idea that nowadays on the computer you can put it together pretty quickly. And olden days before, you would have to illustrate it by hand to get a comprehensive rough layout, trying to make it look like the final. But now with the computer, you don't have to stem too far, and it makes it pretty easy. You can do the final layout, and it almost looks like the finished art, and you can make changes and still have it. The last item I have on this one, for at least the layout and design, is the storyboard. And here's a picture, Walt Disney here, and he is credited with being the originator of the storyboard. Storyboard is kind of a multi-panel layout where all the frames are the same size, and it's telling the story. It's not too difficult. But here it is, and he would be famous for having these on separate pieces, looking at the whole wall so you could see the whole animation or the story at the same time, and pluck these out or switch them around if need be. And the artist that's putting this together, again, has all the drawing and illustration ability that you would hope to have for that design. And this one up here of Dumbo's scene here, you can see that they have, it almost looks like thumbnail sketches, then Some are a little more detailed with rough sketches. There's a thumbtack size in there, so you can see a little bit the size of them. And in this case, the proportion of the frame for the animation is trying to be similar. So these are almost like rough sketches size, and then the shading and everything is a little more elaborate in some of these. And if you see some original storyboards for movies, they do it. And the reason is that in animation, they're saving a lot of time, and the time is the money in the animation. So if they had to reanimate the whole thing and then go back and say, we don't need that, then all those steps are wasted, and that's a lot of expense. Same within a movie. They sometimes film without a script or partially finished script, and it's difficult and financially not a good idea because then they have to wait and rewrite it, and they're still paying everybody. So a lot of people, a lot of directors have adopted this storyboard idea, and that's a field for yourself. If you're good at illustration, you can take on that as a part of a career. So just trying to show it not only from the Brainstorm thumbnail rough comprehensive finished art to a static non-moving animation or an ad, and then how it's related and used into the animation so that you have all that kind of planned out. So if everything's planned out, then they can give these to the animators and they can go ahead and start. And it's all still sketched out till they get the final approval, okay, and everything fits. So commercials, movies, video games, everybody's using storyboards now, and Walt Disney's the credited creator of that style of layout.